Chair would like to call the regular meeting of the City Council of the Great City of Cocoa, February the 13th, 2007, here at beautiful Cocoa Civic Center. Item number 8, City Business -1, seek public comment, input on proposed residential rental standards, regulations. Mr. Tkanich. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the public, I think we're glad this day is here because we can finally dispel some of the misinformation that's been out in the community, specifically with regard to the regulations. I know many of you have been inundated with phone calls well in advance of any ordinance or proposal being put forth, just simply to say no, simply to say no, simply to say no. We wanted to bring something to council that was fair, balanced, and reasonable. I will tell you, by virtue of the fact that a former student of mine, who actually is the Executive Vice President for the Apartment Association of Greater Orlando, and there isn't a letter here that he would like to enter into the public record. Basically, you know, they'd like to see the final ordinance, but you know, they're obviously, you know, they believe what we're trying to do is okay, but obviously the devil's in the details. They're not saying they're opposed; they're just concerned. So there's many people that are concerned about it.
Okay, now what we would like to do, ladies and gentlemen, next is open it to the public. Because of the number of cards we do have here, ma'ams and sirs, we're asking 2 minutes.
First, I have to express my disappointment with 2 minutes. I have pages of issues here that I would like to address. Some of them, hopefully, other folks will address. Some that may not be, and I think that's a concern.
I am absolutely opposed to this ordinance for 3 reasons. The first is that the additional legislation and ordinance is not going to cure the ineffectiveness of the legislation and ordinances already on the book. There are measures in place, there are systems in place to correct the measures in the blighted property that you're referencing. It's just an ineffective department or an ineffective ability to enforce those department that is taking care of the problems. I believe that the number used was that 70 to 80% of the property owners notified of problems under the current system are voluntarily taken care of. And so we're talking about a minimal number of owners or a minimal number of properties that are not being taken care of and that can be corrected other ways.
You're creating administrative nightmares for property management companies. That the cost is put off to the landlords. We have to apply for occupational license. I'd have to apply for occupational license for 1,000 people because those owners are not going to do it. They're depending on me to do that job for them. They have to do I would have to do renewals. I would have to prepare all the lease, give those to you. I personally do inspections on all 2,000 properties. I have someone that I have hired full-time, and that's all he does, 365 days a year. And we do them on a quarterly basis. So we have high standards in the property management business, and I think that you're trying to penalize us. And I do understand why you're doing it. I just think that you need to have more input from the community. Thank you.
Mr. Tkanich, is there any concerns? And then I'll listen from council and take a consensus. Do you have any comments you would like to share with
Do you want me to respond to any of the comments?
Yes.
You'll be here a while.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir. Excuse me.
Well, a couple things. And the difference between a homeowner versus a rentor, you know, that homeowner's choosing to live in that situation in many instances. They're not deriving profit from it, whereas you have, you know, individuals that are renting properties and they are getting money for that. And they have an affirmative obligation under Section 8351 of the Florida statutes to maintain that property in a proper condition. I guess what we're trying to do is put in a system, and these are some of the violations, I guess, maybe that might be objectionable to some people that I find unconscionable. In the year 2007, that somebody has to live in a substandard unit. Dangerous.
Excuse me.
Dangerous, unsafe, unsanitary unit, not fit for occupancy. Roofs being sound tight, not having defects, leaking, mold coming through, window skylights being window skylights door being weather tight. You know, there are units out there where the windows don't even open and they don't have air conditioning. because the windows have been paint shut, and and the problem is the property maintenance code applies to the exterior of the property. And that's the issue that we have. You have to get inside the unit to make sure it's suitable for habitation. And it's nothing, again, this is nothing than asking people that are deriving a profit to do it in a responsible manner.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
I do think we need a workshop to maybe tweak it a little bit, and we have a lot of responsible homeowners, landlords, I'm sorry, here tonight, and they have probably some legitimate concerns, and I think we should address them. And perhaps we can come up with something whereas if they maintain an A or a B property, they get refunded their $63 or something. Something on those lines. I don't know, just some sort of, I don't know the monetary.
I think then you have an issue of arbitrary enforcement or actually you're telling some people that you have to pay a fee to operate a property that's being maintained in a deteriorated condition, but somebody that maintains in a good condition, you don't have a fee.
Well,
I mean,
we're looking for responsible landowners, not.
It's a business. It's a business classification fee. It's
Landlord,
required by code, and it's again the U.S. Census Bureau, the Department of Commerce. They're the ones that establish what industries are within the United States.
Right, absolutely. Is that it, Councilman Lewis?
Yeah, I just think we should have a workshop.
One
maybe
license,
tweak it a little bit.
one license for individual property owner, no matter how many properties they own.